Hello, hello, and welcome to another edition of Choose to Challenge. I am LaWanna Bradford with the Bradford Group, and I am here to help you expand your thinking, your mindset as it relates to just the things we don't really want to talk about. But the one thing that I'm excited about every time in this show, we leave you with some tips, some tools, some strategies, even just some aha moments that we believe will create a shift, not only in your mindset, but if applied in your life. And I'm so excited because today we have the amazing, dynamic Ferlie Almonte in the house. Ferlie, how's it going?
Woohoo! Whoa, how exciting it is to see you again. Thank you for having me. I am doing so fantastically well. That's something that I choose to manifest every single day. So thank you for this forum.
Thank you for saying yes. For those of you who do not know Ferlie, where have you been? Let me tell you a little bit about this amazing woman. She is a motivational edutainer. You heard me correct, edutainer. She inspires, she educates, she entertains, she uplifts and motivates her audience to be the best that they can be. She is a genius in what she likes to call resilience. And we're going to get into that conversation. She's also a best-selling author. She does training, she does teaching, she does speaking. There's just a laundry list of all that she's doing. But I want to pause right now and just celebrate her most amazing accomplishment is she is a survivor. She is a breast cancer survivor. And this month is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So we're going to weave a little bit of that story into her powerful message of resilience, which is today's topic, that resilience and transformation go hand in hand. Yes?
Oh my goodness, what a great topic it is. First of all, I was listening to you introduce me as a breast cancer survivor. I said, I'm not just a survivor, I'm a victor.
I love that. Yes. Yes, yes, you are.
I am always up leveling everything, because there's more to just surviving because we need to thrive so we can be thrivers or victors.
Exactly. And I love that. And I want to sit there for a moment and let's talk about just the word resilience. And I know, I knew you before this current journey that you're on. And you've always talked about resilience. In fact, I just sort of leaned into you because we hear a lot of buzzwords, the feel good words, right? The empowerment words that people use. But what made you different in my eyes is it wasn't just a talk. It's literally what illuminates from you. It's how you live. So let's talk about when did you realize the importance of resilience and that you wanted to not just be the woman that talked the talk, but literally walk the walk.
Thank you so much for saying that. I get a little teary when I hear people talk about it because truly there's a lot of people out there who would teach different things because they have all the letters after their names, right? And it's so different when you come from a place of wisdom and experience. Let's start first with identifying what resilience really means. Resilience really is your ability to bounce back from an adversity, because when you choose to adapt to the different changes in your life, that is what's going to make you thrive. That is what is going to help you move forward in life. And so when did I realize that? I would say the real big wake up call for me was when I lost my spouse to pancreatic cancer. This was about 11 years ago. And I knew that you cannot just wallow in your misery. You cannot continue to hide in your pain and sorrow. It was important that you do something that is going to be very meaningful. Even dating back from before when my mother died of ovarian cancer, this is already 28 years ago, and my father following suit 6 months after that of lung cancer. There has been many losses in my family, and it was important for me to understand that there is nothing that I can do to undo that. And so, how do I celebrate their memory? and how do I do something about it, and how can I create something meaningful for my life and for others to learn from, to thrive from, to win from. And that was when I said, you know, if I do not share my story with others and all the many lessons that I've learned along the way, the many pearls of wisdom, that is going to be a disservice to humanity not to be able to share those things, because many people will be going through what you're going through, maybe in a different aspect, right? But in a different, in their own unique light, they will say, oh, there's light at the end of the tunnel. Oh, there is another new beginning that's going to wait for me. This is possibly going to lead me to some kind of transformation. This adversity could be an opportunity for change. You know, if you keep your mind open and your heart open as well to being able to receive those messages, magic happens. Just like what you said, transformation happens. And with me, every single time I would go through the adversity, the death of my mother, the death of my spouse, those are the most impactful ones that said to me, you know, like, Furley, you need to tap into your resilience muscles and actually begin to ignite the light in front of you so that you too can help others become resilient.
I put up here she was an influencer because I've heard you tell the story about your mother before, and so I want to pause and just celebrate and honor her, and tie it back to again your message and your passion around resiliency. What was it from your mother? Again, she had her journey, and she transitioned from this life, but her legacy and impact lives on in you. So, how did she become that amazing influencer and still is in your life today?
Oh, what a great question. As you're speaking to me right now, I am getting chills from head to toe. I feel like she's channeling to me right now. And let me tell you something. I learned resilience before I learned the word resilience from my mother. Because, you know, when we were young, my father left us and started another family. And in the Philippines before, it was very shameful to be coming from a broken home, so to speak. And so, what I saw in my mother was she was the epitome of class and also grace, that despite what she was facing, she actually took pride in herself and also channel her efforts into basically raising us, her children, into becoming good people and productive people, because we are her trophy, so to speak. She did not go into the path of destruction. She did not blame others. You know, things did not work out with her and my father. And, you know, what can you do? You cannot control feelings of people, you cannot control their choices. And from what I have learned recently, also from relatives, is that my father was regretful over those. But you cannot undo those anymore. But it gave me also, by the way, some kind of closure, knowing that, going back to my mother, having seen her step into her unique light, showing people that, you know, you can still remain a person of dignity, a person of class, the epitome of courage, that you can move on despite life knocking you down. So I saw it head on, and I saw how beautiful and strong of a woman she was. And that, I believe, is my biggest inheritance. Like, I like that genetic factor. If resilience is a genetic factor, I love it, because I love the way that I'm wired to survive, to thrive, and to win.
I love what you just said. You are wired to thrive and win. Survive, thrive, and win. Those of you who are listening, just do a rewind and listen to what Ferlie just said. She said she is wired. It's like she's already commanding her being that this is you. This is in your DNA. You have no other option but to survive, thrive, and win.
You know
And
what they
that to
say,
me is
right?
just the epitome of what resiliency is all about, right?
Yeah, I love what you just said. And also, you know what they said also is you'll never know how strong you are until to be strong is your only choice. And when that happens in your life, you become creative. You become the MacGyver in you. The life hacks in you emerge because you realize, okay, there's nothing that I can do about this. How can I reshape this? How can I create a whole new destiny as a result of this? It needs to transform into something really very positive for it to be a victory, so to speak. Because if our choice is to stay in our comfort zone and continue to weep and grieve and mourn, there's nothing wrong with that, but give yourself a little bit more of an exploration in terms of mourning because you don't want to stay there. Our loved ones who we lost would want to see us survive, thrive, and win in life. They want us to see happy that we can continue to shape our lives into beautiful, magnificent destinies despite them not being with us anymore. And oftentimes that also not only happen when we lose a loved one, but when we go through a tragic situation such as, for example, me being diagnosed with breast cancer. um the difference between the time when my mother was diagnosed with ovarian cancer and the time now that when I was diagnosed with breast cancer is knowledge. Back then, I was not in the medical profession. I was not yet a respiratory therapist. My understanding of what the disease is and also the different treatments and what the prognosis is were so limited. And so I don't think that I was able to step into better communication with the physicians or even manage my expectations well during that time because I did not have enough knowledge. Fast forward almost 30 years, times have changed significantly. And even the power of the internet in terms of us giving us some degree of background on what we're researching on, our ability to communicate and have a meaningful communication with our physicians, even with our loved ones. It's so much better because we also know that with the advancements of technology and science that there is better hope. It's a bigger sense of hope and faith in ourselves and in also what is available out there.
I love that. And we know that hope is important, faith is important, but we also know resiliency is active. It's action oriented, right? You can't be passive and be resilient.
Very good point. It's an
So
excellent.
let's talk about that because you've had your own history of health challenges and
Exactly.
have come back from that, and you're rocking and rolling, and all of a sudden you get this knock on the door that says, Ferlie, guess what? You have the BC. So
Let me tell you something. It's I hear you say about this, like, oh my god, I had a tsunami of adversities. I never even thought that this was going to fall into my lap because I've had a string of adversities already that I've risen from like a phoenix, right? I said, like, and even before this breast cancer, I said, like, rise above everything that knocks you down and tears you apart like a phoenix, right? Because about 18 years ago I was exposed to an occupational hazard as a respiratory therapist that left me with a 40% permanent lung damage. And so I was, disabled for over 10 years. It was very, very humbling because I would literally take two steps and I would turn blue, and I was so short of breath. And then, of course, I've had a really nasty divorce, and I've also had, I when I found love again, I lost my spouse to pancreatic cancer within 8 months of our wedding day. And of course, having been through all of those things also put you in a big financial mess because when you deal with different tragedies in life, it leaves you not being able to earn any income, and also at the same time being able to, scramble for ways to be able to survive, right? Like at that time, you are in a survival mode, like, okay, how do I even begin to have a roof over my shoulder, over my head, and also, food to eat and all that, and be able to provide education for my child. All of those things going through your mind, right? Because when you go through a tragedy or any adversity, it affects you in so many different ways. And during the interview that I had recently, something came to mind, the three things that actually pop into my head. And I worried about my family, about finances, and I worried about my future. All F. But the Ferlilicious way, another F, began to explore different ways to become resilient. And so the resilience part of it is really coming from the mind, first of all, because it is a decision that you have to make for yourself. It is a decision. It is something that you cannot talk about resilience and not believe it, right? And so you have to believe that, I can rise above this, as much as it is a cliche, but this too shall pass. And I know that, at the end of the tunnel there is going to be a bright light that is going to await us, taking us to another journey in life. And it is up to us to keep our eyes, mind, and heart open to that.
I love everything that you said, and I want to sit in on a word choice that you used, and you said decide. And Furley, what I find is one of the most challenging things that people face is making that decision. And when you decide and you turn and you go down that decisive path, there's no turning back. You're committed, right?
Exactly.
And like you said, you're committed to this resiliency, whatever life may bring you, knowing that it will pass. There is the other side of this, whatever that may look like. But that, I believe, is what gives you that hope that you are able to, be this wonderful little fairy, if you will, that's sprinkling this amazing, resilient pixie dust around the world. I
I love that.
sometimes wonder.
Fairy, Furley, Furley, Furley. You're like, fairy, Furley, and and I love that. And another, this is like a show about F, like faith, right? Like
Yes.
another word, and really, like, even that, when you say, when you make a decision, that means you have faith in the decision that you have made, that it will take you to a better place. um,
Yes.
Indecision often paralyzes people because we overanalyze. We are so crippled with fear. That's not a good F. Okay. Fear is not a good F. So the whole point is that, but your faith has to be bigger than your fear for you
Yes.
to be able to make that decision, that you need to charge forward, not just step forward, but charge forward, fully committed. I like the word when you said committed, because a commitment is different, as opposed to, okay, you feel like there is an option, but you make a commitment. And you make, because when you make a decision, it is already a commitment that you are going to do what it takes to get you through the other side. And that is really a very powerful step. As a matter of fact, when I do my life coaching, I always say that the first step is making a decision. Because people say, like, oh, I don't know, let me think about it. How many people say that? Let me think about it. Let me think about your future. Well, let me tell you something, there are going to be not too many choices. Either you stay where you are, or you even retract, or you just move forward. Really, when you are in an adversity, the only way you could think of is positively. Think about, and the wiring, like, you can wire your brain and your soul into becoming, positive. Positivity is going to be the electricity. Oh, I like that. I just said positivity as an electricity. It is going to fuel you to move forward.
I love that. And let's talk a little bit about this recent journey. And I believe, I'm a woman of faith, and I believe you go from glory to glory, and it's through those challenging times that you don't realize what you have within you until you go through it. And then it's like, whoa, okay. You look back, you're like, I did that. You dust yourself off, and then you hit another wall, and you're like, okay, I can climb this. And then that wall turns into a mountain, and you must climb. And then that mountain turns into, oh my gosh, I've got to now somehow jump from one side of the Grand Canyon to the other, which you are currently doing.
You
How
know,
how do you still find a way to just dig deep and say, okay, I know I have the strength to take it the next step.
it's so funny because at the beginning of my diagnosis, I remember a conversation I had with Christine. I've been through so much in my life already, and I've overcome them. This is going to be nothing like this is going to be no different. And so right from the get-go, I said to myself, I'm going to, I'm going to win over this, you know. And so even before, when I was doing my talks, I've had so many adversities, and I said when I was praying, Lord, I have enough material. So don't send me anymore, right? And then of course, and then of course, two C's came, COVID and cancer. Oh my goodness. The cancer really took me by surprise because the COVID happened after my diagnosis. Anyway, I remember when I was diagnosed, I was dumbfounded, but of course, I asked my breast surgeon a lot of questions, and she satisfied my questions. And I said to her, Doc, how much downtime are we looking here? Because I have a very busy 2022. She laughed. She said, I love how positively distracted you are, because 90% of your healing will come from positivity. And so I knew that, okay, remember, I'm wired with resilience. And so I said, okay, what does it take? What do we do? And instead of panicking, I said, I controlled my mind and said, okay, tell me what we need to do. Of course, we need to process it, but at least I became very compliant as a patient because of that, and because of the knowledge I now have in terms of side effects. For instance, I knew what I was going to go through. And so I managed my expectations as to where my life would be, how physically I will be able to do things. So I just put my life on pause. I put my life on pause and dealt with what was most urgent and what was most important. And that was how I made it through. And then I said, I never stopped praying. I never let go of my faith, and I always believed that I will be healed. And I knew right from there that I know that I have the capability, because I made already that decision that I will overcome this. And in the process, Lawana, miraculous things happen. First of all, because I expected the worst, I guess, when I did not go through the most horrific side effects, I was even more grateful because, oh, this is not so as bad. Okay, I got this. I got this. And then also another thing is that during the process, my creative mind never shut down. And also I was always open to listening to the messages being downloaded to me. And so guess what? A book came out of it, a big movement I am creating as a result of it. And also it it gave me more focus on who to help, because you cannot help everybody. We are all, we people say, I want to help people. or you can't be a help to everyone, right?
Right.
So I know that I could help, first of all, people who are going through what I've been through. And because now I come from a place of experience and wisdom, and now I would be able to share with them, what they should expect, how they could actually overcome it, and what can be great options for them to move forward, so that they don't feel resentment but gratitude.
You made a statement, and I'm just gonna kind of do a little challenge right here, where you said you put your life on hold, and me being on the sidelines watching, I would say you did just the opposite. You literally got in the moment of life, because life is happening now, right? It's not in the doing; it's in the being. And
Mm.
you define that it's like, okay, this is a journey, but I'm Ferlilicious. I am all about resilience. And when your doctor said that your mind of positivity became a distraction. So those of you that are listening, when you are so positive, you are distracted from all the negative, from all the things that can block and prevent you from rising and being who you were intended to be in that moment, because life happens moment by moment. It's not yesterday, it's not what could happen, it's the now. And so I salute you, Furley, because what I saw is life was happening now, and you were letting people know I am at this moment in time. And that's who I'm celebrating, the being of Furley.
Oh my goodness. I love that. Thank you so very much. That could make me cry again. But because I love how you see things from a whole different perspective, and I love that you are extremely intelligent and insightful, to be able to see that, because from the time I was diagnosed, and I went to and I went very, very public with it, because I figured, being hidden and hiding in my misery is not going to help anyone. So from the time I was diagnosed, and I even went on Facebook when I still had my drains from my double mastectomy, and when I shaved my head, it became a fun celebration because it was liberating. And I even showed different ways that you can, beautify yourself with the different accessories. And every single time I would go on my chemo, I would actually share with people that it is okay. It is part of the journey. I'm going to be healed. And every single time I would write there, okay, this is number 10 of 12. I'm almost there. So it's almost like people were invested in my success as well, in my victory over cancer, because they're saying, okay, Ferlie, you're almost there. They're following me. And I was getting a lot of messages saying, Ferlie, I was diagnosed with this, or I know somebody who was diagnosed with this, and it's so wonderful to see you thriving through it, and also showing people that they don't have to wallow in their misery. That it's so funny because I would still continue to put on makeup, and whatever I would look, and even if I was gaining weight, I would try to look presentable, and they said, like, people were even saying, Furley, you don't look like you have cancer. And I said,
Mm,
what are people with cancer supposed to look like? You don't have to look like death warmed over just because of your diagnosis. You are not your diagnosis.
exactly.
So when you said about being, this is me being me. This is me showing up in life, still feeling vibrant and full, and full of promises, um, and also filled with hope. And I want people to feel that, not just see. I want people to feel that. So they are going to be witnesses to a rising of a phoenix. And so they can be that too. And so, because believe me, I am so committed into lifting as many people up with me. And if it means I'd be able to do that by sharing my journey, then I've done something spectacular in God's glory.
Yes, yes. Well, before we go into the second half of our show, I'm going to give a moment salute to our sponsor, Real Health, with Mary Ellen Saganovich. Well, we are back for the second half of our show, Choose the Challenge, with guest Ferlie Almonte. We are talking about resilience and transformation go hand in hand. And I'd like us now, Ferlie, to talk a little bit about the transformation side. So we know resiliency is about bouncing back, right?
Yes.
How have you been transformed by this experience?
Wow, I love that question because so many different transformations happened. the most um the most superficial one probably is my look. Look, I'm now platinum.
I know you've joined the movement.
It's so funny because after, obviously with chemo you lose your hair, and when my hair started to come back, it was coming back, mostly like, I don't like to say silver, but more platinum because it's more precious, right? And it was coming back, and as it was growing, I said people actually were loving it, and even myself, I look at myself like, oh, I actually carry it well. Like I could rock this look. And quite frankly, also very timely because, the platinum and the grays and the silvers are really very big right now. Even the young people were, coloring their hair. So this has become my new look. And it's almost like, you know, as I move into a new chapter of my life, this has also evolved with me, my look. And I love it. It's very easy, and like that one. The Yeah, like as far as transformation is concerned, what I would also say is that I became a lot more focused on what I want to do, because in the beginning, like, as a motivational edutainer, as a writer, and also even as a speaker, you think, and you talk about certain things. Okay, when I talk about resilience, for instance, I talk about resilience from all different aspects. It could be, like, being resilient physically, being resilient financially, being resilient spiritually, and all that, right? But for me, I became a lot more focused on who I was going to serve. So the breast cancer community has become, very, very dear, near and dear in my heart, because it's, 1 out of 8 women will be diagnosed with breast cancer. It sucks, that's horrible stats. And also 1 out of those 8 women would be, like, will be also HER2 positive. So, it's an aggressive, and rapid growing kind of cancer. And so because I've learned so much about it, I could teach people a lot more about it and how to be able to transform yourself. And let me tell you something. Talk about also physical transformation. Oh my goodness. When you go through chemo, you are going to be given, of course, steroids, and many other side effects will come out of it, including the weight gain. And I realized I have to also change my lifestyle, because I'm a foodie. Who does not love food, right? And so, in one of the hospitalization that I actually had 3 hospitalizations during a 6-month process, right? Each one of them for different reasons. um and then one of them actually was because of COVID, and then the third one was because of like a severe allergic reaction to the environment. And so my because they were putting a lot of like steroids on my body, my blood sugar also went up. And so like I never saw my blood sugar so high because I'm not diabetic, then I began to be treated like a diabetic. And so while it has become already, while it has normalized, I was made to attend also a diabetes education. And so it was like 4 weeks. It was a day a week, an afternoon a week. And it was eye opening because I began to understand how sugar affects our body, and how our choices, even one slice of bread's like, oh my god, one slice of bread is 15 grams of carbs, what I'm saying, which I never understood before. So transformation. And also, by the way, I started working with a health and nutrition coach who was also teaching me more, who was helping me make more sensible and healthier choices. Her name is Karen Summer. And I'm even doing a webinar with her so that we can teach other people going through the same thing that we've been through. She was also a breast cancer survivor and thriver. And so now, what do I do when I go to the refrigerator? I feel like I am now a calculator. Instead of like reaching out for the delicious easy snacks that I could grab, I now am thinking like, okay, if I choose this, it will be 15 grams of carbs, 30 grams of sugar, blah, blah, blah. This is what it will do to my body. I think very differently now. So that is like a really big transformation because I know that I am healthier now, and I know that my lifestyle choices are going to help me live longer, healthier lives. What else? Obviously.
Let's pause right there. And I think that's so powerful. Again, this is all about deciding, right? So you made a decision once you were made aware. Okay, now I have this knowledge that I can either say it's nice and put it on the side or become empowered by it. So through that empowerment, you made a decision that you were going to make improved life choices. Because the one thing that often people don't talk about is cancer loves sugar. So
Hmm.
why would you feed it? It's like,
Exactly.
no, let's starve that puppy. We don't want to feed it. But it's but but it's beyond that, because when you are have a healthier body, you have a healthier mind, right? It's all mind, body is all connected. So now, there's going to be more energy, there's going to be more clarity. Where we once thought we were very clear, it's like when you start ingesting better food that your brain likes, you realize, oh my gosh, I didn't realize I was in a fog, or I didn't realize that I was running on pure adrenaline rather than the natural fuel that the body is creating within itself, right? So I think that's really powerful. And to those that are listening, if any of you are going through um, the cancer journey, especially breast cancer, and you'd like to reach out and talk to Ferlie, her contact information is here below, 201-994-5617. But also she provides coaching and speaking engagements, and she has a lot of things on the horizon, as you've just heard. So if you just want to share stories, be encouraged, be inspired, please reach out and speak to her. So back to you, Ferlie.
Yeah,
What
and
else?
also one other thing, what it did not only impact me, but it also impact my spouse Christine, is also the transformation in, like, with us, we're also very focused now on helping people become mindful of financial resilience, because you realize, like, I did not know that I was going to get cancer, and of course, like, it drains the family of finances. And being able to educate people on how to best prepare for times like this, because that's the whole idea of, like, for example, insurance, right? Because you want to prepare for the unexpected. You wish that you'd never have to use it, right? Even in a car,
Exactly.
right? But the whole point is that things happen, and the more prepared you are, and the more peace of mind you will also give yourself and your family. That, like, before it was almost just like a concept. Now it's like, this is real, because when we talk about, like, being financially resilient when you have cancer, stroke, or heart attack, or any other disabling diseases, now I'm living it. Who would have thought, right? But We're all going to get old, get sick some way, somehow. And so the more prepared we are, you know, that's how we show love for our family. And being able to prepare for times like this, such as insurance, or preparing it with, by working with, like, financial experts out there who can help us plan our lives for the unexpected. Like, it's so powerful what you do, because I know that you also do help people with on the financial side. Remember, I told you it affects the family three different ways. Like, the three F that I thought of and worried about was family, finances, and my future. And so, because money touches everything, and that was like, it's very, very important, because like, it's so humbling and it's so crippling when you don't have the means to be able to do that. Lawana, people don't want to talk about it, but my bills is incredibly horrific. I'm saying, like, because you have to pay a certain deductible, even if you have insurance, right? You have to pay a certain deductible. And then, of course, there's the co-insurance, and there will be other treatments that are not covered. And so when you see the bills coming, you're almost afraid to open it. you know um
Right.
like, for example, here in New Jersey, for instance, like, there's hardly any plastic surgeon who does breast reconstruction. That's part of my plan. A lot of the health insurance plans do not cover plastic surgeries, and that is when you decide you want to have breast reconstruction, and it costs a lot of money. And there's a lot of, like, fighting of with the insurance and the provider to be able to get paid. And somehow some of that will fall into your lap, and it's scary. So oftentimes it also affects the way people decide on what treatments to take, because would they be able to afford it or not, things like that. So you it's very, very eye opening. So for us to be able to educate people on all of the things that are available right now, and what things that they will be facing when they go through catastrophes in life. You don't want to talk about it because it's a little shameful. Oh, it's a lot shameful, actually. Some, right? you know um because you think, oh my god, I could be losing this, I could, like, I don't have enough money to pay for all of these bills. But that's the reality, and it's not your fault. It's not your fault, and there's no shame in that. And that's why you want to surround yourself with people who will be able to guide you and help you, because there are resources available there, we just do not know.
Yeah, I love that, and I definitely want to have both you and Christine on my other show, which is Business and Financial Raw Talk, a little later in the year, to talk just about that, especially those of us that are entrepreneurs. It's like, what happens when life happens, right? How do you still survive and not lose everything, and not become so stressed about the financial burden that it ends up impacting your physical well-being. So
Exactly. Yeah,
that's
because you're
huge.
stressed now, you're having more diseases because of the stress. And
Yes.
you mentioned, my Christine, oh my goodness, it's so important for you to have also loving and caring people around you. Because I was getting stressed over money, right? It's like, oh my god, I cannot work, blah blah blah. And you know what my spouse said to me? The only job that you have right now is to get better. You see what I'm saying? Like, and also, like, she's so loving and so nurturing. I feel so blessed. I feel so blessed. And even in the Facebook community, people like you. By the way, talk about true friends. Look at me, I'm going to cry here. Like, LaWanna was one of the first people who reached out to me when I was diagnosed with breast cancer, even offering to fly to New Jersey at her own expense to help me go through the chemo if I needed help, because she said I can do my work anywhere. Where do you find people like that? My goodness, you are an angel amongst us, really. Like, how can you not be grateful for true friends? Because those dark moments of your lives reveal the true friends that you have, and the people who are actually just like walking angels, like angels amongst us. And so when you surround yourself with kind people, compassionate, generous people, you will be very, very, you will feel even more lifted, and you would feel even more strong to keep fighting, because there are so many people praying for you, the prayer warriors. You even involve your prayer warriors, right?
Yeah,
So I,
they're still praying. We're waiting until you say it's all finished. They haven't stopped, and this prayer warrior team has been praying for Pearlie every day. There is someone praying for her every hour of the day since she told me she was diagnosed.
thank you so very much. There's so many people out there listening right now who also are praying for me. Yesterday, a friend of mine um shared with me that have been always on the list, even from the time I even had my cataracts done. So I'm just saying, like, oh my God, people have been praying for me for so long, and I'm so grateful to you. I appreciate every single, you know, piece of heart centered, beautiful effort. Oh my God, you just made me cry. Thank God I have like waterproof mascara. Because when you're surrounded by love, you are more propelled. You are more fueled to survive and thrive and win.
Yes,
And because like people are lifting you up. And so I would suggest also for everyone out there to lift others up, because it is in lifting one another that we all win in life.
agreed. I'm going to read something that came from your recent post, and then I'm going to turn it over to you for about 3 minutes to speak directly to the audience, to those women who are going through their cancer journey or may have overcome and are now thriving, whatever is placed in your heart. But you said this, and this was in celebration of your beautiful marriage to Christine. You said, "True love goes beyond falling in love. That's the easy part. It's about rising together in love through tough times."
Thank you. Oh my God, I love that. I even wrote that even before this happened, but never realizing, tougher times, more challenging times were in front of us. But let me tell you something. When you get married, everybody's so excited, right? Like, oh, for better or for worse, in sickness and in health, right? Then those times happen. And many times, and I've had actually a relationship in the past that actually that person wanted to leave because that person was scared. But the whole point is that that is when you need to stay together, hold hands, and just know that you're not going to fight this battle alone. This is you and me together. We fell in love together, and true love would actually help us rise in love together. Because when you're down, when money is not there, for instance, and you're not as healthy and you're not as sexy, right? People tend to just drift, or like they get scared, and then suddenly you start fighting. But during those moments, those are the moments that you actually need to hold hands and just assure each other that this battle is the world may be against us right now, but you're not alone fighting this. I am with you. And quite frankly, we are never alone, because we have somebody up there always looking out for us, watching us, and fighting for us. When you also stay together in faith, that is also a very important thing. you know um the faith that you know that you're going to be healed, and even if it does not end up there, you know that it is God's will, and it is not for your harm. um you also learn to know what to let go of and what to keep. You will also learn that there's only a few people in your circle that are the most important to you, that you want to be there, keeping you strong, and keeping you elevated in the best way you can. Your spirit is going to heal you, and that spirit can heal you when it's fueled with love and kindness and prayers. And so when you find that special people, that special person, or those special people that will help you heal and be a phoenix to help you rise above everything, you know that you're going to rise in love and you are going to win in life.
I love that. Ferlie, we are almost out of time. I want to give you just about 2 to 3 more minutes to share anything that's on your heart and let people know how they can stay in contact with you.
Well, this has led me to a whole new journey in breast cancer awareness and breast cancer education. So I would invite you to actually sign up for a free webinar that my friend Karen Summers and I are holding to help you not only learn how to live a healthier and longer life, even as you're going through this cancer, and I will also help you look great and also show up in life with vibrance and meaning, in this webinar. This is our gift to you. And I would love for you to stay in touch with me. I am on Facebook a lot of times. And so private message me if you're going through a certain challenge in your life, and let me know how I could help you. And if you are an organization that needs somebody to speak about resilience, not only on cancer, but resilience through life adversities, I'll be there for you. I am ready to launch my book, Bring It and Bling It, and I'm also going re, um to create a whole global movement on breast cancer. So I hope that you will be on my side as well. Not only on my side, but this is going to be a community of people, lifting one another, elevating one another, so we can all begin to thrive and win in life. So be kind always. Life is not guaranteed. The future is not guaranteed. The future, tomorrow is not promised. So live your life as though today is your last, and you will notice how magical and how kind and loving you can be. Until then, remember, stay healthy, live kindly and fully, and also celebrate your accomplishments, however small they may be. And remember, always be grateful, because there is always something to be grateful for. If you're on the right side of dirt, you have definitely one great reason to be grateful for. So celebrate life, be thankful for that. And I thank you, LaWanna, for bringing this forum to me, and sharing my message on resilience. Thank you very much. I love you, girl.
Love you more. Thank you so much, Miss Ferlie Almonte, where we were talking about resilience and transformation go hand in hand. Please reach out to her on all things social media. Her phone number is below. And for speaking engagement, coaching engagements, her upcoming webinar, 201-994-5617. And stay tuned for her new book. And what's it titled?
Bring it and bling it.
Bring it and bling it. Love it.
Yeah, I know, right? This is how I made my mess my message.
I love it. I love it. Well, to our listening audience, thank you so very much for joining us for another edition of Choose to Challenge. Thank you so much, Ferlie, for joining us, and we will see you again next week.
Thank you very much. Bye.
Bye bye.